Hey everybody, Shawn Holsinger here from holsingersflyshop.com. Bringing you another time video. It's a stonefly today. Kind of got bored time, wanted to do something different, so I'm bringing you a stonefly. This one you're going to love. It's made to ride hook point up. Here you're going to see a picture of it, then the material list to tie it. Okay, here you see the upside down stone in the vise. Cool looking pattern. Let's get into tying it. So for a hook, we're going to start out with a Firehole 718. I'm tying this one bigger. I'm going to tie it in a size 18. And for a bead, I'm using a 3.8 millimeter tungsten bead. And it's just black nickel. Use whatever color you like here. I'm going to put some lead on this. For lead, I'm using 0.015. And I'm going to do 20 or 30 wraps up here. Alright, and then I'm just pop that off and slide that in up under my hook. And then I'm just going to get that all nice and tight in there. Now I'm going to take another strip of lead here, pull off a chunk of lead, and I'm going to fold it in half. Alright, I'm going to fold it in half like you see here, and this is going to go on the back of this. So I'm going to start my thread. I'm going to use some 140 Denier, use some nano silk, whatever wax thread you like to use. Lock that lead in place. And now I'm going to put this doubled over piece of lead on the top. The reason I'm going to do this, by putting it on what is now the top of the hook, it's going to make the fly ride upside down, which will become the bottom of the hook. So take those two strands, place them right on top like that. Put it right up there behind that bead. And I'm just going to wrap that back. And I want to go past where my lead ended. I want to go a little bit further. Pull down real tight on my thread, and that'll help pop that lead off. And what it is also going to do is it's going to help create a taper going down over the back, which I want a tapered body here. I want it bigger in the thorax than the abdomen. So that's good like that. There you can just barely see the two strips of lead. They're riding right on top like I want them. That's going to cause the hook to ride this way in the water. It's going to cause it to ride hook point up, which is the way I like my flies to ride because I get snagged on the bottom less. So bring my thread back around the bend of the hook, and I actually want to go a little bit further than normal here, and I'm going to add just a little touch of dubbing. For dubbing here, we're going to use some red squirrel nymph abdomen, and use whatever color you like to use for stoneflies. I'm using the abdomen and thorax here. It makes a nice darker colored golden stone. Make a little ball out of it there for that ball that's going to splay our biots out here. Next thing we're going to use is some turkey biot quills. This one's golden stone, and I'm actually using the biots on the front side of the feather here. So I'm just going to pop one or two of those off, use those as my tails. They're nice and long for this longer stonefly. You can use other, regular goose biots or whatever, but these are nice and long. So just put one on each side, right there, and wrap it back to that ball we created, which is going to splay them out. Don't make them too long. You want it to be proportionate. Run one down the other side. Try to get them the same length. I just keep tweaking it till I get it where I like it there, and then I'm going to tie it down. Alright, there you go. You got to see how I got them nice and splayed out there. Now, next thing I'm going to put is a rib on this. For this, I'm going to use some vinyl rib. This is medium-sized brown. And I'm going to tie that in right behind where I ended that lead at, where I pulled the doubled over lead. And I'm just going to wrap that right back there to those biots. And get that out of the way. Now we're going to put the abdomen on. For the abdomen, I'm going back to that red squirrel nymph abdomen. Just going to put some dubbing on here and run that forward. And I don't worry about getting it real tight. If it's a little bit buggy, that's great. And I'm going to run that up there a little bit between half and 2/3 of the way up. Now I'm going to put my rib forward, and I want the flat side to go down against the dubbing there. And I'm going to rib this kind of tight. I just want nice rib sections there. And then we're going to tie that off. Alright, now that we got that tied off there, now we're going to invert this. This is the way it's going to ride in the water. If you have a rotary vise, great. If you don't, flip the hook over in your vise. Next thing we're going to add on is the Hemingway legs. So they come in this nice long strip, and I'm just going to cut one section off. And then I'm going to cut it off real close to the legs. I got a little bit of dubbing on there. I'm going to cut it off real close to the legs on the ends here so I can tie it down. And I want to tie that in right behind that bead. Now, cool thing about the Hemingway legs is they come with a top and bottom side. You can see here barely that it's concave and there's a top side. So that's going to lay right down on your hook body there and tell you which side is up and which side is down. So lay that on top of your hook and start wrapping it in behind that bead. Pop it into place there. And just wrap this down. Just crisscross back and forth over all your legs. Start out light and then cinch down with tighter wraps as you go. You can see there how I got that all covered up there. And I use 3 legs on this bigger one like this one. If I'm tying a smaller, I'll only use 2 legs. Next thing I'm going to do is take a piece of turkey. This is a turkey tail. Just taking a little section of it. I'm going to lay that right on top, and this is going to become my wing case. And again, I'm going loose wraps here just to hold it into place where I want it. Go real loose until I get it where I want it, and then I'm going to cinch it down a little bit. If you go too tight doing this, it's going to pinch those fibers together, and it's not going to look nice. Last thing we're going to add is some red squirrel nymph thorax. Going to give us a little bit darker thorax, which I like. Just going to get that dubbed on there, and then again, we're going to zigzag back and forth through all those legs. I'm going to get behind the back legs and make some wraps in between them all. And I wanted this to be fairly tight. I want it to be buggy, but not overly buggy. You can brush it out if you want it a little bit more buggy. Don't make it too thick either. Be proportionate. Always be proportionate. Alright. Make sure you get that all covered in there. You see nice top and bottom there. Looks all great, good transitions. And then we're just going to pull our wing case over the top and tie that in right behind the bead there. Cut our wing case off. Last step is optional here. I like to put just a touch more dubbing to make a little collar there. It kind of allows my whip finish to sink in to the thread, and you still have a dubbing collar instead of a thread collar. So I like to give a little bit of a dubbing collar there. Whip finish and you're done. There you go, a cool stonefly that's going to ride hook point up. Okay guys, hope you like that tie. It's a little bit of a long tie, but it's a really, really cool fly. I'm a Euro nymph kind of guy. I like to get down. I like to bang bang in the bottom. Actually just ticking the bottom, not stuck on the bottom. But typically, I always say if I can tie it on a jig hook, I'm going to fish it on a jig hook. Well, stoneflies, it's hard to tie them on jig hooks because they're so long and stuff. It's hard to get a jig hook I like for it. But what I like about the jig hook is the hook point rides hook up. When it rides hook point up, that allows it to not be snagging on a lot of the junk on the bottom. So I wanted something to ride hook point up. By inverting the weight on this, putting the weight on the bottom of the fly, that rides the hook point up. I actually took and tied a nymph onto a piece of line here, took a glass of water, sit here and, whoops, I missed. Sit here and just kept dropping it in the cup. And every time that hook point stands up on the top, it works out perfectly. Every time it rides the hook point up the way I want it to. So give it a try, guys. You're going to like it. It works great this way. Mess around with your colors like always. Anytime I tie a stonefly, I tie a couple in browns, blacks, and yellows. Goldens, and there's so many different stoneflies in our areas. But those three colors combinations will cover you. And I don't get really, really gold with them. I kind of go a dirty gold color. That's what I like a little bit better. But hey, whatever works for you. But experiment with your colors. You're going to like it. Also, I'm going to tie these in like 8 to 12 range. 8 is very big. Go down to 12s, you know, tie it with smaller legs. If you don't have smaller legs, cut 2 of the legs off. Fish can't count. You know, don't get hung up on the realistic pattern that you overthink it. Fish can't count. They have the brain the size of a pea. They're not going to notice that it's missing 2 legs. Have fun tying, guys. If you need any of the materials to tie this, like always, please head over to our website at holsingersflyshop.com. If you want me to tie any of these for you, or if you'd like a guided fishing trip with me, give me a shout at holsingersflyshop@gmail.com. That email goes directly to me, and I'll be more than happy to answer all your questions. So thanks for watching, guys. Keep liking and subscribing and commenting on my videos. It really helps out a lot. So thanks for watching. Until next week when I bring you another video, I'm Shawn Holsinger.